Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast.
Great to be here.
Today, we're jumping into the really fascinating life and career of Jim Parsons. You might think you know him from, well, obviously, The Big Bang Theory, but there's so much more there.
Oh, absolutely. It's quite a journey. We've looked into, various aspects of his story, and the plan is really to piece together those twists and turns.
Yeah, pull out the really interesting bits, the stuff that maybe isn't common knowledge. It feels like uncovering a hidden story sometimes.
Definitely. And, what really jumps out right at the beginning is how early that spark ignited for him.
You mean the acting bug?
Exactly.
Wow.
Born James Joseph Parsons, Houston, Texas, March 73. Grew up in Spring, a suburb there. But yeah, the story goes he was just 6 years old.
6? Wow.
Yeah, in a school play, The Elephant's Child, he played the Cola bird.
Okay.
And apparently that was it. Like, that was the moment he decided, absolutely, I'm going to be an actor.
That's pretty incredible for a 6-year-old to have that kind of certainty. It wasn't just like a phase.
Doesn't seem like it because, moving into high school, Klein Oak High School, he kept at it. And he talks about this specific role, junior year, in a play called Noises Off. He said that was when he really fully connected with the role, understood what it meant to be honest on stage.
Interesting. Noises Off is a farce.
Right.
Requires incredible timing.
Exactly. So maybe that early experience tapped into something that, would become really important later. And it's funny, alongside this theater stuff, his influences were sitcoms.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Things like Three's Company, Family Ties, The Cosby Show. So kind of a mix of stagecraft and classic TV comedy feeding into his development.
You can sort of see the ingredients coming together there, can't you? That theatrical grounding, but also an understanding of sitcom rhythms.
Precisely. And he pursued it seriously. University of Houston for his undergrad, a BA in theater.
And he was busy there, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he do a ton of plays?
A ton is right. 17 plays in just 3 years. That's real dedication, not just showing up for class, He was also a founding member of a local company, Infernal Bridegroom Productions.
Okay.
And performed regularly at Stage's Repertory Theater there in Houston, really immersing himself in the scene.
So a strong foundation in Houston.
Yeah.
But then he went further.
Yep. Graduate school, University of San Diego, starting in '99. This was a pretty prestigious program.
Also.
It was a special 2-year classical theater course run in partnership with the Old Globe Theater. Super selective. I think he was one of only, 7 students accepted?
7? That's tiny.
Yeah. And apparently the program director initially had some reservations.
Oh, really?
About
All right.
how his, quote, specific personality would fit with classical theater training.
I don't know what they meant by that, but obviously he got in.
He did. His talent must have shown through. And he apparently loved grad school. Said he would have gotten a doctorate in acting if that was a thing.
He liked the structure, the learning.
Yeah, he talked about it being a safe environment to experiment, which is interesting, right? That need for a space to try things out, to maybe fail.
Absolutely. That freedom is crucial for development. Yeah. So he graduates with his MFA in 2001, and then the big move.
Then New York, the classic actor's path, really. Started doing off-Broadway stuff, trying to get TV work.
Any notable early gigs? Besides the usual struggle?
Well, he had recurring parts on Judging Amy and popped up on Ed. And then there was the Quiznos commercial from 2003.
Oh, I think I remember hearing about this one. Was it?
Kind of weird.
Kind of very weird. He played a guy who was raised by wolves.
Okay.
And was still nursing from his wolf mother.
Right. Okay. Well, you got to pay the bills.
Exactly. Got to start somewhere. He did some small film roles, too, like in Garden State and School for Scoundrels. But mostly it sounds like a lot of auditioning.
Yeah, the pilot season grind.
Totally. He estimated he auditioned for maybe 15 to 30 TV pilots. And, most pilots don't even get picked up by a network. So lots of near misses, probably. Requires serious perseverance. You just have to keep going.
You really do. And then one script landed differently.
The Big Bang Theory.
That's the one. He read the pilot script, and apparently it just clicked. He felt Sheldon Cooper was a role he could really sink his teeth into. A perfect fit, he thought.
Did he relate to Sheldon personally?
He said not immediately, no. It wasn't about relating to the character's personality quirks, necessarily.
What was it then?
It was a dialogue. The way the writers use language, the complex vocabulary, the rhythm, he called it a chance to dance through that dialogue.
Like a linguistic challenge he wanted to take on.
Exactly. And whatever he did in that audition room, it worked. Chuck Lorre, the creator, was blown away.
Instantly.
Pretty much. Lorre apparently asked him to come back for a second audition right away, just to make sure he could actually do it again, to make sure it wasn't a fluke.
Wow. High praise, in a way.
Yeah.
And obviously he could do it again.
He could, and he got the part. Sheldon Cooper. The socially challenged, let's say, but brilliant physicist, often pretty condescending to his friends,
Oh, yeah. That's kind of his trademark. But delivering that dialogue must have been tough.
Incredibly tough. It was so precise, that tightly composed rhythmic dialogue, as it's been described, but it wasn't just the words.
What else?
His physical comedy, what he did in the silences between the lines, it was just as important.
Right, the awkwardness, the little tics.
And he actually credited his grad school training at University of San Diego for giving him the tools to, break down those complex lines and figure out how to perform them.
So that classical training paid off in an unexpected way, maybe, for sitcom comedy.
It seems so. One critic even compared his physical stuff to Buster Keaton, high praise.
Definitely. And Chuck Lorre talked about it too, didn't he?
Yeah, Lorre praised his instincts, his control, said his walk, his hand gestures, head tilts, facial tics, they were all inspired. Just this incredible physical and verbal control.
And it obviously resonated. The awards started rolling in.
Oh, yeah. 4 Primetime Emmys for lead actor in a comedy.
4.
And a Golden Globe in 2011. It was huge. And financially.
Right. The salaries became astronomical towards the end.
Yep. Forbes called him the world's highest paid TV actor for a few years there, 2015 to 2018. They eventually got up to, what, $1 million an episode?
$1 million per episode. Just amazing. The show was a juggernaut, and he was arguably the heart of it.
Undeniably. But what's interesting is that he didn't just, rest on those laurels. He branched out.
Like Broadway.
Exactly. His Broadway debut was in 2011 in The Normal Heart by Larry Kramer. A really powerful, dramatic play.
Quite a departure from Sheldon Cooper.
Totally. Showing different sides of his abilities, and he kept going back to Broadway. He was in Harvey, An Act of God.
Right, I remembered An Act of God. He played God, didn't he?
He did. Then The Boys in the Band, more recently Mother Play. And he's got Our Town coming up. Clearly loves the stage.
Seems like his first love, maybe? Did he do other film work during the Big Bang run?
Yeah, some voice work, like the main character in the animated movie Home.
Oh, yeah.
And supporting roles in films like Hidden Figures. He played Paul Stafford in that.
Good film. So keeping diverse projects going.
And he also moved into producing. Started a company in 2015 with Todd Spiewak, his partner.
What's it called?
That's Wonderful Productions. The idea was to support distinct voices and purposeful work.
Like what kind of projects?
They've backed shows like Special, Equal, Call Me Kat, which he didn't star in, but Kaylee Kuka did, right? And a film called A Kid Like Jake.
So using his platform to help get other stories told.
Seems like it. Plus, he was an executive producer on Young Sheldon.
Right. And he does the narration, doesn't he, as adult Sheldon?
He does, keeping that connection alive. He even had a SiriusXM talk show for a bit. Jim Parsons is too stupid for politics.
Oh, yeah. Interesting title.
Yeah. But maybe the biggest move post-Big Bang, or rather, leading to the end of Big Bang,
was his decision not to continue?
Exactly. Reports were that he turned down a massive contract, like $50 million, for seasons 13 and 14.
Wow. That's a lot of money to walk away from.
It really is. And because he decided he was done, that essentially led to the show ending in 2019 after, 279 episodes? A record for a multi-cam sitcom?
Incredible run. But it sounds like he was ready for the next chapter.
It seems that way.
No.
And he's kept busy since. He was involved in that audiobook, A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo.
Oh, the John Oliver book?
That's the one. He reprised his stage role for the film version of The Boys in the Band, starred as the agent Henry Wilson in the Netflix series Hollywood. Got an Emmy nod for that, too.
He was really good in that. Very different role again.
Yeah, unsettling. And he starred in and produced the film, spoiler alert, based on Michael Asiello's memoir.
Right. And now, back to the stage again.
Yep. A Man of No Importance off-Broadway, Mother Play currently on Broadway, and then Our Town is the stage manager. Keeps pushing into new areas.
Okay. Stepping back for a second, if you're enjoying this deep dive into Jim Parsons' story and you want more explorations like this, definitely hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss future episodes of Tell Me More.
Good point. So, Shifting gears just a bit to his personal life, not something he puts out there constantly, but
Yeah, seems pretty private generally.
yeah. Lives mostly in New York, Gramercy Park area, but keeps a place in LA too. Makes sense for his work.
And he experienced a personal tragedy early on.
Yes, sadly. His father passed away in a car accident back in 2001.
Oh, that's tough. Around the time he was finishing grad school and moving to New York.
Yeah, difficult time. And then, in terms of his own relationship, he publicly came out as gay in a New York Times piece in 2012. Mentioned he'd been in a relationship for 10 years at that point.
With Todd Spivak.
With Todd Spivak, yeah.
Yeah.
His now husband. They got married in May 2017.
And I remember him describing their life as pretty normal, didn't he?
He did back in 2013, called it a regular life, boring love, focused on the everyday stuff, which is kind of refreshing, actually.
It really is. Away from the Hollywood glare.
Yeah.
Did he ever trace his family roots?
He did. On that show, Who Do You Think You Are? Found out he has French ancestry.
Oh, cool. Anyone famous?
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
An 18th century French architect named Louis-François Trouard, his sixth great-grandfather.
Wow, that's quite a connection. Anything else notable personally?
Just noted that he supported Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election.
Okay, and you had a fun fact for us, too, a little surprising tidbit.
Yeah, just a little something. Did you know he actually voiced himself on The Simpsons?
No kidding. What was the context?
It was in an episode called Frintcoin, and he showed up to explain cryptocurrency.
Huh, that's perfect. Using the Sheldon persona, essentially, to explain something complicated and nerdy.
Exactly. It just shows how much that character, and by extension him, kind of seeped into popular culture.
Definitely. So when you put it all together, this whole journey, what's the big picture look like?
Well, it's really a story about early passion meeting serious dedication, doesn't it? That 6-year-old's dream wasn't just a dream. It was fueled by intense training, stage work, grad school.
Right. The groundwork was laid very deliberately.
Yeah, and then seizing that right opportunity when it came along, but also not being defined only by that huge success, continuing to explore theater, film, producing.
It's that mix of, like, intense preparation and then also embracing the unexpected, maybe.
Yeah.
From a school playbird to, global stardom and back to the stage.
Exactly. Which leads to, I guess, the really interesting question to chew on.
Yeah.
How much of his ability to create such a unique, iconic character like Sheldon was down to that meticulous classical training, the craft, the technique, and how much was, innate talent, that natural comedic timing, that specific sensibility he brought?
Is it even possible to separate the two? Or is it the blend that's the magic ingredient?
That's the thing to ponder, isn't it? The fusion of discipline and instinct.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this fascinating exploration of Jim Parsons' life and career here on Tell Me More Stories Told As podcast.
My pleasure.
We really hope you enjoyed digging into these layers with us. Until next time, keep looking for the stories all around you.